us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
Live from the East Bridgewater studios, it's Ghost Chronicles Next Generation with the blonde Bombshell herself and Kerrigan, and of course the most humble Van Helsing. Well, this is it.
Hi, everybody.
This is our second live show as opposed to our first one.
Yes.
And
yes.
We're really excited about it. We had a couple of little glitches in the first one, but that was okay. It worked out all right, if you know what I mean. But we're really excited about this one and really excited about being back at East Bridgewater's Community TV. So
Yes.
And we want to welcome all our listeners from PowerX, TogiNet, Ghost Channel, and whoever else this signal is being bounced off to. So, right.
Hopefully a lot of residents in East Bridgewater. Hopefully you're all saying hello, tuning in. But it's great to be live. It's a little scary. If I'm a little nervous, don't mind me. It just it's different.
What are you saying, Ann? What are you saying, Ann? So anyways, we're going to be doing this monthly now, right?
Yes.
Every first Wednesday of the month. So if you want to circle your calendar into 2014, you'll be all set.
20,000?
Yeah, 2014.
2,000.
Same thing. 20.
Few thousand, whatever. So you had some great events lately.
You know, Halloween is over, thank God.
No.
No?
Not thank God.
Well,
I miss Halloween.
yeah,
But anyways.
I'm gearing up for next year.
Yeah.
So that's
We're
the
ready.
cool things. But, I mean, I really did some really, really cool things. I mean, and probably the most surprising thing, and this really blew my mind, is that last Wednesday, which was Game 6 of the World Series. Who could think that? I did a lecture at, Maureen and I did a lecture at Middlesex Community College. Ghost Hunt lecture.
Yeah.
So you figure Game 6, which turned out to be the deciding game of the World Series, we figured about 3 people there.
Go Sox.
It was 70. Wow.
Maybe some paranormal people aren't sports people.
I don't know.
Maybe
we could ask Dan Gordon, who's written 2 books on haunted baseball.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, so, obviously they wanted to see you more than they wanted to see the Red Sox.
Who doesn't? You know what I'm saying? I would. So anyway, that was good. And then, of course, last Saturday, I was able to investigate Ventford Hall in Lenox, Mass.
Amazing, yeah.
Which is absolutely cool. Do you know that place, though? They were going to tear that down and make a nursing home out of it.
That's awful.
Well, the thing was, you could stand in like the dining room now and look all the way up to the sky. And there was nothing there. They had taken down all the panels and everything else and were going to sell them and everything else. So this group stepped in and took over, and they've rebuilt the whole thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. Well, you saw the pictures.
I saw
right?
the pictures. It looks fantastic.
On my Facebook page, which is Ronald Kolek. And, of course, we have a Facebook page, too, which is?
Ghost Chronicles-Next Generation.
Yes.
Hop on there and like us.
Yeah, so. And you also have another page, which is?
Cemetery tripping.
Oddly enough, I think we have a cemetery tripping.
Yes, we do.
So can we play that now?
Can we roll that cemetery tripping clip?
Hopefully we're rolling.
Okay, we are rolling.
Fine, I guess.
Welcome to Cemetery Tripping, where I will feature a different cemetery in each episode that I hope you will seek out and enjoy as much as I do. As an avid taphophile, or lover of tombstones, I spend a lot of time in the local New England area in the beautiful and historic cemeteries we have here. The stones here are like no others, and I have literally thousands of pictures of the intricate and symbolic carvings found on them. You can see my pictures on Facebook by doing a search for Cemetery Tripping. Today I'd like to talk about some common cemetery symbolism. People often ask me, what do the carvings mean on older stones? Come on with me and I'll show you some examples. Perhaps the most common Puritan-era carving was a death's head. The skull representing the human mortality, with the wings being symbolic of the soul's ascent to heaven. And this is probably one of the biggest things that you will see in a Puritan-era cemetery, called the death's head. This one also has some great crossed bones over the top of it, which is another symbol of mortality. And it's often tossed in with the sexton's tools, which would be a coffin, shovel, pick, and again, the crossed bones. Memento mori. Often accompanying a death's head, this literally means remember thy death. The Puritans thought of death daily and literally counted the hours on earth, and often this was reflected on their tombstones. A willow. This symbol was used during the Victorian era. It is often pictured with an urn, which symbolizes the remains of the mortal soul. This was a symbol of rejuvenation, because after a willow has a broken branch, it will often regrow it. So it's a symbol of life after death. These are just a few of the many symbolic carvings you'll find on older gravestones. I hope you'll recognize them next time you're wandering through a cemetery like me. Hi, and welcome back to Ghost Chronicles Next Generation. I hope you liked my cemetery tripping.
I don't know,
What
I
can
didn't
I
see
say?
it, so what can I tell you? I actually have to see it after the show, so there you go.
Yes,
Hopefully
yes.
it was good.
But we would like to introduce our guest now. Yes, we do have a guest. And we would like to welcome Michael Markowicz, author and EVP specialist.
Yay!
Hi, Mike.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Awesome.
This is nice being in the new studio.
I know, isn't it beautiful?
Yeah, it's really nice.
So
We're
you were in
very
the old one
spoiled.
before?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right, because you guys worked together on East Bridgewater's most haunted.
Yes, we were on a team for many years. Yeah, Mike and I, and my niece Sarah, my husband Tom, and various and sundry other people kind of came and went.
That's right. Including you, Ron.
I did?
That's when I first met you, was
Fort Revere.
Fort Revere.
Right. Anne reached out to me. I've been paying for it ever since.
That's right. You know it. You love it.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Well, and Mike is the author, let me just hold up his book here, of
Ouch.
EVP Massachusetts Ghostly Voices, Electronic Voice Phenomenon, Massachusetts Ghostly Voices.
And it comes with a DVD.
And it comes, yes it does. There's a DVD in the back. So you can get all freaked out and scare yourself with listening to the EVPs. But what have you, what do we...
So what if
What
you
have I
listen,
done?
Wait a minute, Mike, wouldn't that be great to listen to your EVP while you're like in bed just before you fall asleep?
I think he does
You
it.
could.
Don't you do that anyways?
It's not really bedtime reading.
I mean, wouldn't you get like voices in your dreams and stuff?
If that's what you're going for. I don't know. If you want that to happen, maybe you could welcome it.
I was just curious.
Yeah. To each his own.
Anyways, I'll turn that over to you before I so rudely interrupted you.
So Mike has brought us a number of EVPs to listen to tonight. And
I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm going to.
Okay.
Because we have new listeners and new
Yes.
viewers, so somebody might not know what an EVP is. So, Mike, do you want to handle that?
Sure. They're basically voices that show up on an audio recording. When you listen back to it. So you make an audio recording, you ask a bunch of questions, and then you listen, and all of a sudden there's other voices that show up. That's what the electronic voice phenomenon is. And sometimes it could be other sounds as well. It could be footsteps or a gunshot, something like that all of a sudden just pops up. That's what makes it really, it's just crazy when that happens because you can't explain it because you were there recording it. That's what makes it so exciting. It's like, wow, this is really something going on here, and you can't explain it, So it's a fascinating topic of discussion and research because it lends itself, at least in my belief, more to the spiritual realm, other than any kind of other interference which has been reported. So for me, it's directly related to spirit activity.
I mean, a lot of people, well, at least 6 have seen White Noise, the movie. And that was pretty scary, but...
It started off pretty good, and then it went downhill with all the mumbo-jumbo Hollywood, you know.
So, I mean, do you think, in a way, it's a true representation, only Hollywoodized?
Like I said, it started off good. I mean, I haven't seen that movie since it came out in the theaters, so I don't remember it all that well.
Do you know they made 2 of them?
Did they? Yeah, see, there you go. Yeah.
Well, there's always got to be a sequel. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is.
And I know there's so many times, you know, we've investigated someplace and maybe not a whole lot else was happening, but you have a huge amount of EVPs, even though we might not have a lot of personal experiences.
Right.
I mean, that happens a lot, I think, don't you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's where all your evidence comes from, is with your audio, because it deals directly with communication. You know, it's not, we don't really communicate with sight. I mean, it's an aid to communication, but our true communication is voice, it's spoken word. Right. And that's why I think that EVP is the best way that a spirit can interact with us. If it was all visual, if we had no voice boxes and we took our communication from cues of motion, sign language, or something like that, then maybe they'd appear to us more. The dynamics would be different. But because I think we communicate with the spoken word, that's how they communicate as well, because after all, they're just us on the other side.
Right.
Wouldn't that be an interesting experiment, is to do sign language and see if you would get a response,
that's a good,
EVP-wise, or
why
maybe
not?
visual?
Or a deaf person.
Yeah.
Never know, something could appear to them. Or
It's intriguing. I mean, that's what I love about the field is we're into the unknown. We don't know where we're going or what can happen or what even the spirit can do.
Right.
And so it's so fascinating, and nothing is really stupid. You can try anything, and hey, it may work, may not work.
Right.
Right. Well, I guess that's a future experiment, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of experimentation. There's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
And when you find something that works for you, you just stick with it.
Right.
For me, it was audio recording, so.
Right. Wow.
So how did you get involved with audio recordings?
And basically had an experience with it. You know, a friend of mine listened to a recording that she had made late one night, and she came across the scream of a woman that wasn't there at the time that they recorded, obviously. And she brought it to a Halloween party, and she was passing the headphones around, and people were all reacting to it. And I said, well, what's going on? So I put the headphones on, and that was it. I heard that, and I knew I was going to be recording for a long, long time.
Right.
You know, it's a true calling of life, you know what I mean? It's like that moment was the moment that I knew I'd be recording. So that's pretty cool, yeah.
And that's funny because, I mean, we've been known to throw the occasional party at my house, and
occasionally.
I go upstairs, and here's Mike. He's got his headphones, he's got his laptop, and he's got this big group of people around him, and he's like passing the headphones around. I'm like, oh, here's where all my guests went.
Can't help it sometimes.
I know.
I get real worked up with it because it's so exciting. And I think that's one of the points that people, I think, miss, is that this field is just so exciting. If you think about it in the terms of how it was recorded. You know, in the book I described this, EVPs is kind of like, you know, when you record Niagara Falls and you play that back for somebody, all you hear is a bunch of white noise, basically, a bunch of rumbling. You know, it can't really project what it's like to be there. So we're left with voices on our recorders, and you listen to the voices. Now you have to take that leap the same way you do as if you would recorded Niagara Falls, and try to put some kind of a mindset to it. And that's something that I kind of developed over time with this stuff, because I've got thousands of recordings. I'm able to group some of the stuff together, but that's what makes it so exciting, when you kind of start unraveling it in your own mind of what you think's going on. Then you can absolutely do it. The theory is all there. You just have to kind of congeal it together with your personal experiences, along with your hard evidence, which is audio recordings, and it starts to paint a picture.
Right.
And I kind of agree with you because, you know, EVP to me has always had that wow factor, especially when it first came out. Everybody went like, wow, you know. Now we've got these ghost machines and the hack shacks and everything else and ghost radar, and they're spitting out words all over the place. And, you know, so it has diminished a little bit in the wow factor and that. But still, I mean, when someone doesn't believe or are on that cusp where they're not sure, you play a good EVP for them, and especially if they're there when recorded. I mean, they simply go nuts over it. I mean, we did spectral evidence. We've done it 10 years as part of the Festival of the Dead, and this past Halloween season, the last thing we did was an EVP workshop, and we did some recording, and they asked 3 simple questions. In fact, Leslie Martin did, and the last one was basically a big scream, but it was an answer, but it was just, you know, off the chart. You know what it's like, right? So when we played that back, and people heard, they were there when she said this stuff, and we had 2 recorders going, so the other one didn't pick up anything, and then this one here, boy, I got so many emails saying, wow, you know, I wasn't believing, you know, I heard that, and, you know, I've really changed. So I really still think EVP, and agree with you on that. It really has the wow factor.
It really does, especially when they're starting to call your name repeatedly, you know, first name, last name. Sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's a man, you know, and you kind of start to realize that you always have somebody around you, you know.
So do you begin to recognize these spirits that are around you, that the ones that actually
I wish I could, but I don't. I don't have a mediumistic quality to me as far as the live stuff goes, unless I have the headphones on. If I have my recorder on, I got the headphones on, I hear them live quite regularly, especially during an investigation. I'll just write down time after time, hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, and it's just continual. I can knock down 80, 100 hits within 2 hours.
Wow.
And then listen to it back, and sure enough, there's EVP, EVP, EVP. And now I'm starting to respond to them where I can actually record a 2-way conversation with the spirit. Wow. And I've got some examples of that. I don't know, I didn't bring any tonight because this is, I mean, there's so many different topics, there's so many different methods, there's so many different things. But this is where I think everybody can take EVP. There's a structure to it, there's a school, and once you finish and you get to the end, your personal experiences are going to be extraordinary to you, and also the communication is going to open up more. But I think it's all a learned thing.
Right. We have a question from our chat room.
And speaking about that, if people do want to ask questions, how can they do that, Anne?
You can go into our TogiNet chat room at
ParaX.
Or ParaX. TogiNet is www.toginet.com. Hop in the chat room and put your question in there. And we have a couple of nice girls here on the set with us who are monitoring the chat room and putting questions up on a teleprompter for us to see. And if you have ParaX open too as well,
yes.
ParaX chat room, it's para-x.com. And go in the chat room there.
Remember all that, huh?
Hey, I know.
You said your memory stinks.
Pretty amazing for an old broad, huh?
Yeah.
We do have a question. I'm not sure which chat room this is from.
That's TogiNet.
TogiNet, okay. Anna would like to know, Mike, what is the clearest EVP you have ever heard? And do you remember what it said?
Well, I brought a clear one, a really clear one.
Yeah.
This was at the Abington Country Store up on Route 18 in Abington. It's a really antique shop, wonderful inside there. Excellent owners, they're wonderful people. And just to set this up, I was recording on the 2nd floor, looking downstairs, and the owner, Lisa, was looking up at me, and I was the only one upstairs. And I had heard some things live. It was actually a boy talking and singing and whatnot, and I could hear that. So I was questioning her about it, and I'm saying, yeah, I don't think it's anybody outside. And she says, I doubt it. She speaks over me, and that's the only time that she said doubt it. And then in a mimic fashion, a woman says doubt it in a monotone kind of a voice immediately after I stopped talking.
Oh, wow.
So if you played the,
Yes.
the
Do we
Doubt
have that
clip,
one?
We actually, we do have this clip, and this for our control room people, Russ in the control room, this is clip number 2, entitled Doubt It. Okay, we're going to work on.
I thought maybe it'd be summer outside, but the weather's so bad there probably wouldn't be any
doubt
kids
it.
out there.
Doubt it.
So, played
Okay,
it.
you want-
Can we play that one more
Play it
time?
one more time?
I thought maybe it'd be summer outside, but the weather's so bad there probably wouldn't be any
doubt
kids
it.
out there.
Doubt it.
You know, for the audience, probably heard it. I'm
Thank you.
sure. It's that second one right after I finished speaking. That voice is a real EVP. That's a real person speaking.
Wow.
That close to the microphone because I have my recorder, and she had to have been so close because the proximity effect. She must have been literally standing right next to me when she spoke.
Yeah,
And I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
It just showed up on the recording.
That's
Now,
awesome. That was
you-
really
you-
loud, too, because
Yeah.
I put the clips together. It was a
That
very
was a
loud
loud one,
clip,
yeah.
yeah.
That brings up another question, I guess, is that you say is very clear. Well, there are other ones that are not so clear,
Yeah.
and some that are really horrible, actually. Is there a classification of them, and how do you classify them?
I don't. Personally, I don't. If you hear it, you hear it. If you don't hear it, that's okay. You put a class to it, I'm not sure what that's supposed to do. It's not going to increase your hearing ability. It's not going to make it any more intelligible for you. It's practice that's going to do that for you. So the classification, I don't deal with it at all. You're going to interpret something different than I do, which is very, very common with this, except for the really clear ones like that one. In that instance, well, it's obviously doubt it. Everyone can understand it.
Right.
But there's a lot that comes over that's embedded in other noises on your footsteps that you're walking around, and there is a voice on every step, something of that nature. But that's just the way that it is. And like I said, there's A, B, C. I think they even have D now.
Yeah, I don't know why. What would it be like? You
I
know,
know.
the garbage
Like,
disposal.
yeah, I know.
Okay, there you go.
And in that too, editing software has come a long way too. With the age of the computer, opened up so many different fields. Back in when I was in high school, you had to have a recorder, a large recorder, in order to record like music or something on. Now every kid has a recording system with them on their phone.
Right.
You can go online and get free software, and you can record your band if you have a computer.
Right.
It's that simple now.
Right.
So times have changed, and the software has gotten really good too.
So let me ask you about the
to
software.
clean 'em up.
And the cleaning up. I mean, you can clean them to death. I mean, you can take them, you can reverse them, you can do all
Yeah,
kinds
you
of
can do a
stuff
lot
with
with
them.
it. Sure
I
can.
mean, what does it get to the point of where we are just really trying to make them fit something rather than really accept them for what they are?
Yeah. Well, I think if you're careful with it and you understand a sound a little bit with what you're listening to and how to shape it properly, and you don't take out frequencies that interfere with the human voice, you can do it really well. And there's also some really good software out there that a lot of people don't typically buy. You're going to spend $1,000 on a CD, or maybe $5,000 on a CD for like some forensic software.
Right.
That's so it's so detailed that you need to take a class on it
Right.
in order to know how to use it. Stuff like that you can do a lot with, much more than most people who are in the field.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the other thing, and it's actually one of the weaknesses in ghost hunting is that people don't do their homework. For instance, the FLIR camera, it's not audio, but it's an expensive piece of equipment,
yeah.
and it is equipment. But people just grab it and they use it. They
Right.
do not even read the manual. No.
Right.
I mean, like I just got another FLIR, and I'm taking a course in it. Because I
Way to
want to
do it.
know what this is actually capturing and what's the flaws in it. And there are flaws in every system. And you've got to know the little nuances too. So
right.
that's the way you do it.
Absolutely.
But we don't do enough studying, really, of our equipment.
And you know what's funny too, you brought up the word forensic, and I think you were on this email thread as well, that our friend, the granny, sent us a
Paranormal
photo,
Grandma.
the paranormal granny.
Yeah.
Hey, granny.
That's right.
Very nice lady, Kathy Caslin.
She's a sweetheart.
Sent us a picture because, we're kind of fringe members of her group as well, and Worcester Paranormal. And she sent this picture out to us a couple of weeks back and said, "What's your opinion?" She didn't say yes or no. She just said, these are some people, and it was on Block Island. Was it Block Island?
I think so.
So, we all looked at it, and I mean, the first thing I thought of when I looked at it was, that's a really cool picture. But then, I looked at it some more, and I thought, it's a little too cool. And I'm like, it's so with Photoshop now and all the different little ghost apps and things like that, I'm like, unless I knew the person personally who took that photo,
Right.
and I knew, like, they took it on their camera and turned to me and said, look at this,
Yeah, that would be different.
then I would believe them. But I don't, people send me stuff all the time, and I'm like, and sure enough, she sent it off to Michael Baker, and he literally did he deconstructed the picture, did all his forensic evidence, and he said it was photoshopped. It was absolutely 100% photoshopped. And the woman's husband who sent the picture then admitted,
That's right.
"Oh, well, I was playing a joke on you."
That's right.
And I'm like, well, yeah, it's your wife's expense because look what happened.
Right. And now this is a tribute to Mike's ability to use what he's learned over time.
You know your
and
stuff.
people have sent me audio files too. I also get things through email and whatnot, and I've got people sending me things that I know have been faked. I mean, if you're in the field, don't try to pull the wool over my eyes.
Right.
With something.
Right.
I don't say anything.
Yeah.
But I know it's fake.
it's-
I know it's very easy to tell. Because there's certain things that they're just red flags immediately. And as soon as you look into it and you get on that computer, you're like, there it is, there's my answer. So the field is full of people like that, because in doing this kind of research, and this kind of ties into a lot of paranormal groups as well, you realize that studying all this ghost stuff, it becomes personal to you, and that becomes the reason why you're doing it, more than your friends or even the client. Yeah, the client wants some answers. You can probably give them some ideas what you think's going on, but that's basically where it stops. The whole journey behind this whole field of study is personal. It's your journey of your life, how you're interacting with this stuff, and I'm telling you, it will change you. When you're into it, and these personal experiences start happening of not only seeing things, but touching things and experiencing things on different levels, it totally changes you. Then you start to realize, okay, this is more about me than it is playing stuff for my buddies.
That's true, yeah. We have another question. This is from Sauce. Oh, it's from Nate. Sauce Nam. Sauce or Nam? Nathan, what is the best method of capturing EVP? Asking questions, just talking with others, or a mixture of the two?
Yep, that's yes. All of the above, because in all those instances, you'll find EVPs. So each individual, absolutely, each point absolutely will work. Silence, I've set up microphones throughout the house and left the house for a half an hour and then go back in and do that the whole entire night without anybody in there.
That's great.
And you capture things.
Right.
We do things like quiet time. And
Always
during quiet time, you get 10 minutes of nothing but silence. And all of a sudden something will pop up, something like boot steps.
Oh, yes. We do have more questions, but let's play this EVP because we do have a number to play. This clip for Russ in the control room. This is clip number 1, boot steps.
You hear somebody walking on the floor, except the floor was carpeted. And that rustling that you hear is me putting this recorder down on the bed because I was sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
The bed was here, and quiet time had started, so I wanted to put my recorder down so I didn't have any handling noise. So then I put it on the bed, and it was during that time that somebody was walking down the hall.
Oh my God.
And the people downstairs heard it, and after the quiet time was done, they started yelling at us for walking around during quiet time because they thought it was us.
Oh
And
my
we were
God.
sitting down. We weren't making a move. We were absolutely sitting down, absolutely still and quiet.
Can we play,
One more time.
Russ, can we play that
play that
clip
one more time, yeah.
one more time?
Area between
That's crazy.
the legs.
Carpeted-
Unbelievable.
Carpeted floor.
Yeah, on a carpeted floor. And what's interesting
Love
too
it.
is now, because you kind of start to pick apart sound a little bit, but notice how the footsteps sound on the floor, almost like a wooden drum. It has a reverb,
Yeah.
a reverberance to it,
Mm-hmm.
because I believe back in the day it was just wooden planks on top of wood and with the downstairs
The
below,
open.
and it's all wooden structure all around it. So
Right.
you're basically in like an echo chamber almost, or like a reverb chamber. So the sound of those boots are very resonant as it walks. It's that's one of my favorite ones too, because
Nice.
I think it's I just love it.
No, we have another question.
Okay.
Oh, they're flowing in here. This one's from John. Do you ever use spirit box like in Ghost Adventurers? I guess.
I do.
what he
Yeah, that's the only toy that I use.
Really?
Yeah, I have one I built. I saw it online.
It's like a hack shack or?
Yeah. And I use it, and I absolutely love it. That's the only thing that I use because it deals with communication. It's spoken voice. So anything that deals with the spoken voice, I will use. I've tried different things. I tried shortwave radios and other things like that, and they work too. Believe it or not, you turn the dial, and you ask questions while you're physically turning the dial.
Really?
On a shortwave radio, and you record the output, and you listen back, and you'll hear.
I think that's the key to is recording the thing, because you get involved with a lot of matrixing or pareidolia, where you actually want to hear different things. Your brain's trying to put
What comes in so
harder to it.
fast?
I know.
These things come.
Yeah.
They come in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's very hard to decipher what they say live.
I have the
It's very
worst. I have the
difficult.
worst time with those.
Yeah. So if you
Shack
do
hack.
it like you do an EVP, where
Yeah.
you actually record
Yeah.
it, you can
Yes.
actually go back and analyze it.
You can break
It's-
it down, slow
yeah.
it down, and it's absolutely amazing things come through those.
Wow.
You'll get sentences that are half female, half male.
Mm-hmm.
They say one sentence, but they're made up of two different people. It's fascinating stuff.
It kills me. It's like we have so many of these electronic devices now, like the Ovilus, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Ovilus is, what, $260.
Yeah.
So you put this Ovilus on, right? And then it says, "Wow." And you say, "Oh, did you hear that?" It said, "What?" It said, "What?" "Wow." And then, two people hear different things. So for another $120, you can get the digital readout. And you can actually hear
yeah.
it. So $400 in this little baby that's actually... I don't know how much more effective it is than just doing EVPs.
Well,
or
here's the
even an
thing.
action.
Doesn't that stray away from what you should be doing, which is bridging that gap, making the veil that's in your mind really thin so you actually communicate? Depending on something else to do that, it doesn't work, and it's not going to help you grow as an investigator. Why don't you spend the money on a recorder so you can record the voices as they happen? Plug the earphones in and listen to your environment live. That's how you experience things.
And
how you
those boxes, those the what is it?
Spirit
The
box?
Ovilus?
The obelisk.
Okay.
They're pre-programmed
Right.
with X amount of words.
Right.
It's only going to spit out whatever its range of words is, 70 words, 100 words.
Right.
And it's just going to cycle through those words. And sure, maybe it's going to spit the word out 5 times. But that's
You
all
always get the
you're,
investigators
you
say,
know,
okay, this
that's
word
what you're
wasn't
gonna
even
get.
programmed into it, and it came out. You'll hear that often. I have.
Right.
And they'll say, okay, no, that's proof of it. But I kind of agree. You know what? To me, I'd rather just use a stupid ghost radar. And I think honestly, I think it has just as much validity as a stupid Ovilus or even a hack shack.
Yeah.
And
Not me.
Well, let me say that, because when I first came out, I was like you. I said, okay, this is a piece of junk, right?
Yeah.
But then, I started thinking about if spirit can manipulate things, if it can move a ball if there's a child spirit, if you can take a trigger device and move that, or materialize, or put its voice in it, why couldn't it manipulate a piece of electronic equipment? So I have used it in a couple of cases with pretty good results. I mean, at the Book Shack, when I did the event there, it worked out really well in that I had these two girls I took up from the audience. We sat down, they held hands, they started singing, and all of a sudden the ghost radar comes up, nuts. So I make a joke like, oh, the spirits thinks we're nuts, but they turn white. And the next thing I know, it says eating. And what is that? And then another one came up, die, and this whole story came up. And what it was is these two girls knew this gentleman, a young boy, who died of nut allergy from eating nuts, and he died before the paramedics could get there, and it just happened not that long ago. So you can say whatever you want, but to them, they believe that was them. And, it's a little hard thing. And the other thing, when it first came out, I went to my paranormal study group with it, and there was a little boy that had died in Maine. Remember, he was murdered by his mother. It was a big case around here. But anyway, so it first came out when they first found the body. I cut out the article and I brought it into the paranormal study group. And we read that article and we sat around and let the ghost radar just spit out words, right? And that's what it did. So it recorded them all. So a month later, they had found out the mother had killed it and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I cut the article out and we re-met at the paranormal study group and we compared the words that we had to the words in the article. And, some of them you can make fancy and kind of obvious, but there were so many really distinctive hits, like Texas, the mother was from Texas, Navy, her son was in the Navy, plane, a little boy who had a plane in his thing, praying, she was found reading the Bible, it had car in it. I mean, it even had the name of the lawyer, which was Murphy. It was way above the average. Yeah. So, you know what? Maybe there is a little validity to it. We don't know. Yep. I mean, we have to be open-minded. Yeah. Sometimes we get too close.
I think that you can get results from basically anything. It's just that I don't want to deal with, personally, I don't want to deal with something that's not giving me that direct communication. Right. Mm-hmm. That's why I rely on my ears, because that's just how I am. Other people rely on other things, like mediums. They see things, they sense things much differently than most people do.
Or you become a medium in a way.
In a way you do. In a way you do. You draw it closer to you, and you're more aware of it.
We got some other cool ones here, and I'd like to get a couple more in because I know we're getting
I know we've got some more questions too.
Oh, we do? Okay.
Yeah, we're going to get to your question, guys. We are
let's
coming.
do my favorite, the gunshot.
Can we do the gunshot?
Yeah.
Because you guys did that together, right?
Yes, this was an investigation. Russ, for your control room, it's clip number 3, which is the gunshot.
Do you want
stairs, I was finding roses. Now, I just peeked in whoever's room is to the front. Yeah, you have a big candle on the bureau, but it's grapefruit or something.
So we will play that again in a second. Hold off on replay on that. This was an investigation that Mike and I did together with our team, East Bridgewater's Most Haunted. It was at the Scott Keith House, which is a historical home here in East Bridgewater. And when we recorded that, we would just simply, I was talking to the family about a personal experience that I had, which was smelling rose perfume while we were putting out microphones in the house. It was just the two of us in the house. So, I was just relating this story to them. We were all just hanging out in the kitchen, and Mike was recording the whole time. And we heard that gunshot over what I was speaking to the family about.
Yeah, about your experience about smelling the roses.
And obviously never heard a gunshot, never heard anything.
No.
But
there was a lot of people in the room too.
Yeah.
And nobody heard anything.
Yeah.
And you can actually hear the reverb in the room of that thing. And it goes off the decibel register off my computer.
Oh, it's crazy.
Over 120 decibels.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
Which is really loud.
You want to play that one more time?
Yes. Could we play that again, Russ, please?
Stairs, I was finding roses. Now, I just peeked in whoever's room is to the front. You have a big candle on the bureau, but it's grapefruit or something.
Yeah, it's a really cool recording. It's one of my favorites because it's so powerful.
It is.
And there's a lot to it. You got a punch. You have a really good speaker system. You really hear the punch and the reverb within the room. That's what makes it really cool.
Some of our control room people are going, oh my God, oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
But
wild.
that is a wild, really wild EVP.
Now this brings up a whole other topic of discussion of it's a nonverbal communication.
Yeah.
It's not a spirit speaking anymore. Like the boot steps, it's nonverbal. Yet you get the artifact of an event that a human being has done. So somebody shot the gun, somebody walked down the hall. And this, I kind of explain this is because it happens because it's a form of communication, because it's something that somebody did in their life. Somebody did walk down that hall, somebody did take a gunshot. And that is stored in your memory as live and exciting as it did happen at the time. When you remember this after death, all that memory comes back to you as you lived it, as clear as it is now. And all those things come back. So when you're a free-form spirit on the other side, this is how these things occur to us. It's coming from a person. I don't think that any object is going to store human consciousness. That's something that I don't think God does. I don't think whoever made us in a spirit will put the energy.
What about the famous drawbridge in Scotland, where they've actually gotten EVPs of the drawbridge, even though the drawbridge is gone?
But I think that is coming from somebody. Sounds are a weird thing, you know what I mean? And there could be other sources for it, just like a record. It's not coming from a person, it's coming from an object. So is it possible? Absolutely. It's just that I think in certain instances, like footsteps, I don't think the floor is holding the information. I think it's coming from spirit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another question?
Quick question from a chat room from Masquatch. How often do you do an investigation and get nothing out of it?
Never.
Never. You
Nope.
always get EVPs.
Always.
Actually, you don't even have to be in an investigation. To get
No.
EVPs, do you, Mike?
That's true.
Mike gets them just walking down the hall.
I record white noise made by people, for instance, a crowd. If I'm at an event, for instance, in East Bridgewater's high school, the old one, before a jazz band or whatever, I'd record the crowd and I'd capture things in the crowd. I've been at parties. I've recorded trains going by and caught voices over the train, like an angelic little note, a little note. It doesn't matter where you are, in my car, or everywhere. Doesn't matter where you are.
Right.
I actually have a question for you, and this goes to that. Now, if you can see Mike's recorder, he's got a really good recorder.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
It's very sensitive, right?
Yeah, it's very sensitive.
Okay, now, when you're first doing it, most people say use cheap recorders because you have the white noise, but you have this one. How do you know you're not just picking up, it's so sensitive, you're not just picking up a human voice in the crowd?
If you do pick up a human voice in the crowd and they're talking to you, specifically, like if you hear, hey, Ron, like for instance, if you heard, hey, Ron, I love you, over a crowd.
I never knew.
Because that's what happened to me. And I know what's going on around me. So I'll look at my recorder, I'll look around, no one's talking to me, I hit record, and I continue to look around. Everyone's ignoring me. And you play it back, all of a sudden there's a woman saying these things. You look great. No one was
But
talking
isn't
at
that
the
like
time.
normal chatter for like in a crowd? Wouldn't you
Yeah,
have
if
that?
someone is talking to you,
Right.
sure. But when no one's talking to you and everyone
But, I mean,
has their
if
conversation
that's so
going on,
sensitive, how do you not picking up me talking to Anne, for instance?
because you'd say, hey, Ann, you look great.
But what if it's,
You know?
yeah, well,
It's the context of what's being said, and it's how it sounds, because a lot of EVPs sound different than what we sound like. A lot of times they're mono, a lot of times they're very flat sounding. Sometimes they have reverb in a room that doesn't have reverb. It's completely different acoustic signature to it altogether.
so let me ask you this then. If you really wanted to do like serious research in EVP, why wouldn't you take that recorder and put it in a soundproof box and have a spirit talk to you through there? So you're actually you're blocking out everything.
Well, how's a wave going to get into
doesn't
a
need a
soundproof
wave.
box? No, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Because the most of the time, I believe it's an acoustic wave, much like a particle of light
Okay.
is a wave and it's a particle. It's two different things at the same time. This is proven by science. So there is a duality to things. I think communication with spirit is a telepathic communication, and it's also acoustical energy. I think it's two things at the same time, you know. Because spirits have come in and spoke, and 2 people have heard it, 3 people have heard it. You know, I was at work, and all of a sudden a woman says, "Michael." And the girl next to me says, "Who was that?" because she heard it too.
Right.
So that, I don't think it's a telepathic link between the 2 of us. I think it comes into the air.
Well, I mean, if you believe the spirits can walk through walls and everything, why couldn't they project their voice through a box? I mean, I just...
Right. Yeah, I haven't tried that. I mean, it's certainly worth a try. But like you said earlier about a cheaper recorder that creates noise, maybe they need that energy to do the acoustic side of it. Without the acoustic side, they're completely reliant on a telepathic one, and maybe it'll still work.
So maybe you
I
could
just
put a
haven't tried
white
it.
noise generator in that same box.
And then what happens? now you have a voice competing with white noise, and you
Right.
try to filter that out. You take the human voice out too.
So, I don't know, just curious.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that's why I love this field.
Yeah, it's
is
awesome.
I just love thinking about different things.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not like it's right or wrong. It's just thinking other
Yeah.
possibilities.
And this is the same thing that I've gone through over the years, and I've tried all different devices. I've recorded different devices. People have other things that they're working on, different methods, and you try them all. Yeah. Yep.
Another question
Wow.
from Masquatch. Are investigators leery of admitting to having found nothing because of the standards set by TV? What do you think of that?
Yeah, TV and the real life are 2 different things.
Yeah.
That's first and foremost.
Yeah, because
you know,
we're really not here.
That's right.
Well,
Figment
people
of
on
their imagination.
those TV shows, they're paid actors and they have a program to produce. Directors, producers, there's all kinds of people surrounding the script and making it happen.
Right.
I first realized that was all fake years ago when I saw the lack of evidence. I'm like, wait a minute, where's all the rest of the stuff?
Right.
Where's all that other stuff that they're not showing? And that alone kind of triggered me to say, yeah, I think something's going on with this stuff.
Right.
There's always something to capture, always, always, always.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if groups
Yeah,
don't...
but for you, Mike, but like for
I know.
Anne, Anne wouldn't get crap. No offense.
She's EVP impaired. Yeah,
Yes, I am. I actually am.
a little bit. But
I'm the same way, so don't feel bad.
All right.
yeah, it's you know, there are plenty of people who don't capture much, and I just think that it's because with them, let's just say the veil is very thick. The distance between...
Or do you think it's more a
You know?
frequency thing?
No, I think it's just it's how close are you to your field. You know what I mean? It's like, are you someone who reads the owner's manual of a race car, or are you the driver?
Mm-hmm.
You know, which one do you aspire to be?
I mean, a lot of mediums, they can't do EVPs for crap.
Yeah.
But,
Right. Yeah, I think it's a learned thing. It's a fine tuning.
Yeah.
You know, sound is like that. They actually have programs that you can take, classes that you can take on critical listening, and
See-
for weeks.
See, there's hope for me. There's hope for me.
Do you want to listen
Shut
to
up.
sine waves and be able to pick out frequencies with sine waves over a 3-week, 4-week period?
Well,
That make you mental.
not really.
But it's, you know.
So we got a couple
We've got
more
a
of
few
these.
more. Yes, we do.
And,
We want to do Ashford, that one.
Yeah, that one's a
Okay.
crazy one. This is one of my favorite ones.
All right. This is
Do you want to set it up?
clip number 5. It says, "Hey Ashford."
Yeah. Let me set this up a little
Let
bit before you
it.
play
Yeah.
it.
Hold off before you play it.
This one was recorded at the Faring Tavern down in Wareham, and I was down in the basement, and the basement is divided between dirt and a cement floor. And my friend Matt Moniz was sweeping the dirt off the floor with his foot because we think that the floor was poured over a well or a tunnel that went down that fed into a stream, and we're thinking it was part of the Underground Railroad. So we were tapping on the floor, seeing if it sounded hollow. And so he started sweeping the dirt off of the floor. And I'm just going to tell you what is said. And it's a male voice, and perfectly over the sound of his foot moving, and every time he moved his foot, was a male that says, "Hey Ashford, I killed Grandpa Ash. I just knew that you'd feel the pain. Then, gone, consider it a gift. And it's broken up that way in a staccato kind of a way because his foot was starting and stopping. So it's an absolute amazing piece of audio, an admission to murder.
Ah, okay. We can go ahead and play that now.
It's a little long.
It's
Play the.
Go ahead.
how about the knife?
Oh, the knife is a
knife.
cool one. Yeah, very clear.
This is another nonverbal EVP, and this is clip number 6. It says knife. Hopefully that one will be there.
Really cool. Like if you listen to that with a set of headphones on, it's just incredible. I was standing in front of a kitchen table. I was by myself in the room, and people were asking questions around the house. And then I listened, and all of a sudden you hear a knife like push through an apple and hit the table.
To me, can we play that one more time, please?
Explanation for that.
Yeah.
I was there when I recorded it, and that's where the wonderment comes from.
Yeah.
You know, when you have your headphones on and you listen to the playback, and all of a sudden you hear that. Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa! wait a minute.
You know what? To me, it actually
Wow.
sounds like somebody took a cleaver. You know, like the guy chasing the fish in The Little Mermaid. Poisson, poisson.
If you put the
And he goes,
headphones on,
Chuck.
you can actually hear it slice through something that sounds like an apple, like a nice big ripe apple, firm apple. That's what it sounds like. It's got that sound of it cutting through. You know what I mean?
Oh, a nice
It's a
head.
big. It could be. you know.
That's
knows?
amazing.
Anyway,
That's cool.
So
Okay.
we're gonna play one more, and then I want to
really.
get to in a minute. So hopefully we'll set up
All right.
some time for.
So we have.
Hallelujah, if you want.
Okay. What you want to set this EVP up
Yep,
for us? Or?
This was recorded right here in East Bridgewater, and it was down on the old Stagecoach Road, which is right next to Strong's Field. Just to the right of it, a little dirt path that goes down, and beers to the
I
left.
think we used to park out there. Yeah. Anyways.
And that's the old part of the old Stagecoach Road. And the legend has that corner, one of the stagecoaches had fallen over, the horses had to be shot, and I think someone was killed. I don't remember, but this was some years ago. And just as I was going to shut my recorder off, this little communication came in. It's a boys' choir singing Hallelujah, just that one word.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the investigators says, because they all come in with their own
condition? Or
with their own condition, with their own
They'll
reason.
come in with the same thing?
Same procedure.
Same procedure.
Because they all come in with the same.
Okay, so this is clip number 4, Hallelujah.
You have to listen close.
Listen.
Because they all come in with the same procedure.
Play it one more time, very quick. It's a quick one.
Because they all come in with the same procedure.
Completely different than all the rest of the recordings that I have, in that it's a unified communication. All those other ones, they're single persons, single people. And that is, I've got thousands of audio clips, and 99% of them are all single people speaking.
Mm-hmm.
When I recorded that, it changed things. It changed the way I looked at this, at EVPs, and it kind of told me that something more was going on, and there has to be a different place for this, because all those EVPs, the single people, they're all much like we are. It's one of the things that you can observe. You observe your own recordings. They speak just like we do.
Right.
They have wants and needs, and they do things just like we do. But this is a song of praise by a young, very young, which sounds to me like a young boys' choir. And that's a unified communication that came through, which tells me that it's coming from a different place. So now we have this place that most people speak from, and then there's a higher dimension where I think this came from. So now there's something that's closer to, Valhalla.
So we're actually going to do a segment now, which is called In a Minute. And we have 60 seconds. You have 60 seconds to answer our question.
Okay.
And then you're cut off. Sorry.
Okay.
If you go beyond that, I throw something at you.
All
right,
we
so-
don't know if we have 6 minutes.
We don't have, but let's do what we have. Go ahead. We'll start.
All right.
Since you wrote yours out.
What is your all-time favorite EVP from your archives?
I think the Hey Ashford one is probably one of my top favorites because not only what the spirit is saying, but the strength of it. It's very, very strong. It manipulates acoustic sound. If you notice, there's not a whole lot of sound of the foot on the floor. It was witnessed by several people, and it's an admission to murder, and that to me is, I think, in itself, somebody doing that is pretty amazing.
Okay.
I really like that one.
Wow, you finished that one up pretty quick.
All right.
So my question now. In your EVP work, do you find there is a good and evil, or is it just all monotone?
There is good and evil associated with it, and it's basically, the personalities of these people. If you're a, bad dude in this world, when you die, you're going to be a bad dude in that one, and the recordings reflect that. I've heard every swear word that there is, every single letter in the alphabet have come through time and time again. I've had death threats, called every name in the book, and other people as well, not just myself, but I've actually recorded other people's names being called swear words and whatnot. And yeah, that happens. That absolutely does happen.
Wow.
It's doing good.
Okay. What has been your most frightening experience while investigating?
Getting direct, I don't know, I wouldn't say communication, but interaction with a spirit that didn't like you. Don't provoke if you're going to do this work. I would not say to anybody to provoke, to be forceful while asking questions. Be good, because once they come on you and they start to try to strangle you, you'll know it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
We're getting our rap cue.
Yeah,
I'm very
I know, that's
sorry.
right. No, it's good. No, we managed to get
We got a few
3
questions
in there
in.
anyways. Well, we just have to make sure we have more time for my favorite segment. That's all right.
We'll call it in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
whatever. But, well, I thought this was an awesome show. And
Yeah, it's fun.
thank you so much for being on, Mike. And we always enjoy having you
His
on.
book.
You know that.
Hold it up.
We're going to hold up his book. This is Mike's book, EVP, Electronic Voice Phenomenon, Massachusetts
You actually have to
Ghostly
read it?
Voices.
Wait a
It's
minute, you
so
actually had to
damn
read
long.
that?
The title's so long.
Damn.
Anyways, you can get this book still on Amazon,
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Or you can
And,
order it directly through Schiffer as well.
directly through Schiffer Press. It's a great read and it's a great listen, on
Does
the
it have
DVD.
pictures?
There are pictures.
I think
There
you're
are
in there,
pictures
Ron.
in here. See,
Yeah, Ron's in there.
There's probably
Anne?
one of Ron in
Anne's
here.
in there.
I'm in here. You know it. You
Really?
know it.
So, Mike, we want to thank
yeah.
you so much for coming on the show and answering some of the questions that we had. And like the box thing, it's just something else to think about. And it was never meant to be, aspersion upon you or anything
no,
else
no,
or
no.
the field.
No, I'm fine with it, Ron.
It's what we have to do. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's great. I love all those techniques, so it's
All
good.
right.
It's all good.
Well, we have to sign off. We're furiously been giving up the rap cue. Thank you, everybody, for listening and for watching.
And tune in next month.
Yes, next month, the first Wednesday of December.
So good night and God bless.
Good night.
Good night, folks.
From ghoulies to ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump in the night. Deliver us, good Lord.